So guys, the final part, as if you have been to our previous events, you know it's a panel discussion. I'm going to moderate it. And here are our amazing guests. So let me first, before I sit down and start the discussion, let me introduce them one by one. So here we've got first, they don't sit exactly as on the slide. So first we've got Mateusz Zalubski, who's right now head of marketing at Incogni, but he is also consulting and a previous founder of different subscription businesses. We've got Marcel Animucki, who is principal at bValue, which is a fund that deals with some subscription businesses. We've got Wojciech Gorzeń from Movens Capital, who's also a pricing guru and also a person from the fund that invests in the subscription businesses. Not many product subscriptions maybe, but still there's a lot of experience behind him that is relevant here. And finally, we've got Marek Gut, who is co-founder and CEO of YourKaya, that was mentioned a few times during today as one of the most famous subscription businesses in Poland. So I'm very glad that we have Marek today with us. And then I'm Ewa Wysocka. I'm the founder of Tribe 47, and I'm going to moderate this discussion. So here are the questions. I will just present them in the back, and you guys can't watch it, so that wasn't the idea.
We cannot
discuss with me. And we're going to start the discussion by this very simple question that we have already touched base on before, so I hope you guys still have your amazing answers. So when we look at the subscriptions, what products and businesses are suitable for this model and what are not? And Mateusz, I know that you have a lot of interesting experiences in that space, so I'm very curious about your idea. What businesses work for subscriptions and what maybe better not?
I would say that the first argument will be, what is the frequency of use of a product? If it's something that you use frequently on a regular basis, it will be easier for the product and for the brand to prove its value. But almost everything can be a subscription, but it also depends on the distribution model. How will you distribute the product? Will you do it yourself, or whether you maybe already have a user base that you can distribute the product to? Yeah, so I would say it's frequency, but maybe there's someone else who doesn't agree with this statement.
Yeah, like Marcel, any experiences from your investment journey where someone was trying to do subscription, but it was a very bad idea in the end?
Yeah, lots.
Okay.
But I would say that first of all, it can change in time whether a business can be a subscription-based model. But to ask directly the question, I think that most of the products are not that obvious if they can be or cannot be subscription-based. And therefore, if someone wants to build a subscription business, then he has to answer this question as fast as possible if it can be a subscription-based model. Some direct-to-consumer products can be in the hybrid model can prove to be very successful, but I think that it is up to the founder to decide to check and to research what are the experiences of other businesses in that segment, and whether there are any stories.
Any example from your experience where it was a really bad decision to launch a subscription?
No, not that bad experiences. I mean, we have some experiences in which the subscription model was tried as an add-on to the typical regular, I would say, business model, and it failed and didn't provide any value. But I'm not sure that it proved any point. I don't know if there is for example, early stage D2C, which is experimenting a lot, but on very low customer base. The feedbacks that he can receive are not maybe representative enough to be informative going forward.
Okay, and Marek, from your practical experience,
Yeah, I mean, frequency is a very good point. So obviously you have to look at frequency. If there is high frequency, then probably, it's a good start. But then again, you have the shopping around factor, which is super important, especially in the cosmetics business.
What do you mean by shopping around?
So different products have, people have different approach to trying using different products. For instance, if you get a shampoo, I mean, there's a lot of women, a lot of girls in the room. You probably tell you switch from shampoo to shampoo very frequently. So you might say, okay, shampoo is something that you use every single day, but then again you switch brands very frequently, which means it's going to be it's going to be a struggle to scale in a subscription business. And we've discovered it firsthand in our portfolio as well. Some products are very suitable to subscriptions because the customers are really loyal. Menstruation is the best example, I would say. And the other products are a little bit more difficult to scale in a subscription business. Face care, for instance, that's a tough one. So, I mean, and then again, not every single bit in your portfolio has to be very well suited towards subscription. You can have this core, as we do, which is, feminine care. But then when you have a, large base of subscribers, you can upsell them regularly to those products that are not really that suitable to subscriptions. But because you have that retention in your customers, you can then boost their LTV with products that can be single add-ons, but still generate a lot of value and fit well into a subscription business, even though they're not very subscribable themselves.
Cool. And if you guys would really.
Maybe I would add something.
Okay, yeah, Wojciech. It's not like I wanted to not ask you, but there's so many questions.
Yeah, I know. Because frequency seems like obvious, okay? Yeah. There needs to be some frequency so that it makes sense to subscribe. But then the other factor I would add would be what I would call durability or consumption. If you consume something and it wears off, it makes sense to buy it again and again. Because it would not make sense to buy in a frequent case of buying or repeat buying something like a tool, because you will buy a hammer once and that's it. And for that, still you might find out a subscription model, but that would be like I would kind of lend you a tool for a subscription
like an
fee.
Access to a hammer.
Like an access to, but a piece of the tool as such, which is durable, it's not going to be sold more frequently. Okay?
Makes sense. So, from your experience, and we can actually combine the questions here together. Do customers really like subscriptions? And you can already think about it from the perspective of Polish customers. Do they like subscriptions? Is it something that you guys like as investors and business owners and consultants, or is it something that is liked in general?
Do not mistake what the investors like with what the people like. So that's a different sides of the argument.
I'm asking, because there's so much hype around the subscription, everyone wants it, right?
We've seen today on one chart that the clear advantages of subscription is that you can reap more benefits of the same customer over longer periods of time. Some part of it is of course because customers just forget to switch off their cards or to cancel the subscription, but most of it is because they feel more attached and they feel that they want the product more if it's coming regularly. But I think that from a VC perspective, any type of repeatability of the customers is advantageous, and it can be done via simple subscription, but it can be done via many other ways. Either way, it's all about capitalizing on the LTV of the customers versus the customer of acquisition. It's a simple mathematics of economics, but the fix on subscription is because of the easiness of charging, and this in Poland is very friction. because no one wants to provide their card number to be charged with no knowledge of it. And this is, I would say, the biggest difference between Western markets and Polish market. And I'm curious whether there will be some new solutions. I'm waiting for some startups to provide some other solutions for payments, regular payments.
There is one already. Blik is introducing subscription payments as well.
That's what they're saying, but
it's already available, but only with 2 banks. So I think it's like Pekao.
Yeah, but I think that these type of products are definitely needed on the market, because I, as a customer, would subscribe to many more things, but I just don't trust myself with remembering all those subscriptions, and I don't have any visibility on them.
You need control, right? And this is also a pretty nice hack, growth hack from our point of view. So you'd say, as Marcel said, there are some kind of subscription businesses where you sort of forget about them, but it only works for digital goods. So it only works for, I mean, Spotify you use every day, but say Storytel, it's a great example on my side. I subscribed for Storytel once, never used it for 9 months, so to say, and it was such a pain to cancel the subscription, because you can only do it on desktop, and I said, okay, I'll do it the next day, it's only 19 zlotys, blah, blah, blah. They created a big LTV on me, and I've never used the product. But when you receive a physical product, it never works.
Because then there's a pile,
you
right?
will remember to cancel it. And so for the subscription to be even more sticky, you have to do something which seems to be kind of counterproductive, which is, keep telling the customer, hey, your subscription is about to renew. If you want to cancel it, you can easily cancel it over here. And after we introduced text messages, where we send over the text to our customers 3 days before the subscription renews, hey, your subscription will renew in 3 days, you can cancel it, or you can add some more products to it, obviously. It massively improved our churn. So you'd say, okay, people who maybe could have forgotten about it, they will...
More transparent, right?
Yeah, exactly. They will cancel. Yeah, they will cancel it, so you lose money, but you lose money in a very short term, and in the long term, it always works. So, transparency is key when it comes to subscription businesses for physical products, especially.
Yes, again, 2 hats. The hat of the investor, venture capitalist. Obviously, subscription businesses, yes. Why? Because 2 words: recurring revenue. Okay, and we like it. Simply. Yes. Okay.
Everyone likes it.
And we prefer to invest, and majority of the investors prefer to invest in the businesses that have healthy recurring revenue model. Okay, so that's the investor perspective. And then, more private perspective, I'm a user of Storytel. I'm using that a lot, and I'm very glad that this product is available, because I'm paying monthly. And I'm consuming, and that's about consumption. Maybe, again, the consumption of the physical goods and not material goods is different, but I'm consuming a lot of books. So for me, it pays off a lot. But in terms of the physical products, again, next to frequency, how to call it? Consumption. So you need to consume the product so that end of one piece batch, and then next and next and next, so that you don't stack up the pile of not used, not consumed.
And this is extremely tricky when it comes to physical products. So even if you have, pads and tampons, menstruation goods, from a men's perspective, a couple of years ago, I'd say, okay, this is something you're probably going to use it, the same amount every month. But it's not true, You can have a longer period, you can have a shorter period, you can have a more intensive one, a less intensive one, and so on and so on. So this is super tricky, and the main reason for churn in our case...
Being a woman is very tricky indeed.
That as well. So the main reason for churn in our case is, the product's piling up, and people say, okay, I have enough, I'll churn for a couple of months and so on, and then I'll get back. Obviously, it's something not desirable, so you want to install some features that allow you to pause the subscription and maybe to skip a couple of next shipments. But still, the customer, she's not really sure, for how long she'd like to skip. And if you have that uncertainty, you're gonna churn. So that's a big challenge when it comes to physical products. And it's even more difficult with more traditional white cosmetics, right? So with a shampoo or something, you can squeeze a little bit more, squeeze a little bit less, then maybe buy something else, and then use 2 at the same time, and so on. So calculating, the level of consumption, I would say that's really, really important when it comes to
But then for this one, and we're going a bit into the pricing model of general business model. It's about to lower the entry barrier or purchasing barrier of a customer, okay? And if I'm considering, will I use it every month or every week or something? Maybe yes, maybe not, and I'm hesitating. So maybe I don't buy it in subscription. But if I have an option, okay, I can suspend anytime, or maybe similar to applications or services, I have like money back guarantee. So if case B, I can return, but not like frequently. That's for me might be okay. I'm saved. I'm safe because I can. If I don't consume, then there is an option to get rid of the pile up. Okay?
Yeah, well, like in the first session that we were doing here with Marek, like we were actually showing that the main reasons why people don't sign up for the subscription is that they are afraid of this idea of not paying as they go. So they're somehow afraid that this product will be piling up like at their door. So there's definitely, but that the biggest incentive, the biggest reason why they actually sign up for subscription is usually about the price difference and the fact that subscription is cheaper. So here comes another question, like, what is this pricing model that is ideal? And you offer subscription for cheaper, so that means what? Your product in general is much overpriced towards the other products in the market? Like, Marek, you have this case, I'm sure, right?
I mean, if you have the business knowledge behind it, or any kind of business experience that you can put on it, I mean, when you sell in a subscription, you can add a discount because you don't have to pay for acquiring the customer or reactivating the customer once more. So that's the basic reason why you can sell at a lower price compared to one-offs. Because even if you have a recurring customer that does one-off purchases, a big chunk of them, they're gonna come from Facebook ads, Meta ads, or whatever. So you still pay for them even though they're recurring. And it's a different case when it comes to subscription. It's a free revenue, which is something extremely rare in these times, I'd say. So that's why you can have the discount. But obviously the discount is very important, but it cannot be the single value proposition for the subscriber. There are a couple of issues with that. First of all, the lower barrier of entry, the easier it is to acquire customers that will instantly churn. So people are not stupid. If you offer a big discount at the very beginning, they will, purchase in a subscription and cancel the same day. And that's part of the risk of doing subscription business. We have, quite a few customers every single month who do it. And what's really, really surprising, we have, extremely recurring customers with high LTVs that do it every 3 months. So they buy a subscription, they cancel the same day, they come back to the website in 3 months, they buy a subscription and cancel it, and so on and so on and so on. Which it's super illogical, but that's how it works.
But what's the percentage of them? Is that something that you should care about, or just let it be because it's a part of the business?
I mean, obviously you always should care about it because you can. It's not guaranteed that she will come back, so you should offer some kind of incentives for her to stay, and maybe educate her a little bit more about the subscription, that she doesn't have to be really afraid about it, and you have to do something. And it's surprisingly, it's not a small chunk. It's like I wouldn't say it's 50%, right? But it's noticeable. So that's it.
Any customers?
Huh?
Have you talked with any sort of people? On the phone, like what's their decision making?
Well, me personally, I haven't talked for quite some time. I don't think it's something that I should have said, probably. As a founder, I should probably
Especially
say...
to your investor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Marcel, I mean, we talk every single day with the customers.
Yeah, that's interesting because these guys invest in this business, right? So now you're on the spot.
But I mean, it's usually the reasons for not choosing a subscription or maybe canceling the same day are usually what you've said. I'm afraid it's going to pile up, and you're going to drain my account, and I'll lose control over it, and I much prefer to do it on my own because I know how much I'm going to use it, and so on and so on. But the second thing about pricing, which is tricky, I mean, there's this trap you should avoid, entering is at a certain point the discount doesn't matter. So you have to. We've done it with A/B testing basically. So we look, okay, until what kind of discount do you actually notice some kind of a conversion rate increase?
Okay.
And in our case, it's 15%. So between 15% and 20% is literally
no difference.
Almost no difference.
That's a good piece of advice, right? Because from the data that we showed before, it's usually between 15 to 25% of the discount that companies give when offering subscriptions. So that's interesting that for you, 15 made a mark, right? So why would you give more? But now, are you really making sure that when you're offering discounts to the general audience, you're always making these discounts less than what the subscribers are getting?
So nowadays, we really offer, we always almost offer no discounts in for the past couple of months. The only discounts we offer is through ambassadors, and maybe in case of some new marketing channels that we want to test, we want to actually see if they work or not. So we decided to go easy on the discount because it's a trap that so at a certain point it's kind of hard to exit it, and you're forced to discount and even more to activate the customers. But we always give a discount. We always make it, when we offer a discount, we always make it as simple as possible. So it's not like you get a 15% off for a one-off and you get 10% off for a subscription because you already get 15% off. No. It's confusing, first of all. It massively lowers your conversion rates, which is, counterproductive. So we always give out a discount. Okay, if we do have 50% for everything, then you can get 15 plus 15 on the subscription. So the subscription is always more attractive than the one-off purchase.
Good.
If I may, as a
sure.
Pricing person, there should be something more than the discount, because if this is just discount and price difference, you're not producing the loyal clients. Okay, they will just buy because of the price difference, and then over time, if there is something like convenience, comfort, some additional services that you can provide with the product, that's what make the customer stick. And then if you make the customer realize that there is something else, maybe something they could not get otherwise, they might pay the same price or higher, because they will see the value with that. So that's one comment, and then the other comment, because we are talking about...
But maybe let's dig into it for a moment,
okay.
Because I think that's something that I had in my questions. I thought we will finish with it, but if we're already there, I think it's good to stop here. Because also in the previous presentations, we were showing some perspective of subscriptions being tied to the habits, that people actually need to have some habit of using the product for them to actually be able to pay for the subscription. Easy with the tampons, because, you don't need to really formulate a new habit, it's already there. But as you said, it can be difficult with the shampoo, it can be difficult with the supplement, it can be difficult with many other products that we want to link into the subscription. So now, how can you offer this extra value? So it's cheaper, it's at your door, but what else you can do? Did you guys see some cool examples, or maybe you have implemented some cool example or some nice inspirations? Because I think that's where we need these ideas to get the subscriptions more sticky.
So, if I can refer to the psi model business, this is maybe... Psi, sorry.
Maybe you should consider it. I mean,
subconsciousness. Then, this is the product that you yourself might not be able to produce the healthy, fresh food for your dog. So this is the value in itself, that they will provide it, okay? With the other products like, shampoo and the likes, maybe some advice, maybe some consulting from time to time. You're using this and maybe try this, some additional, something else. So something that makes the client think, okay, I'm paying, I'm using that regularly, I will stick to that because on top of getting me or giving me the product, they provide me with something, okay?
Yeah.
What? Personal touch, okay? And then I'm, okay, I like it. Okay?
Yeah, so this is like this additional value. And maybe Mateusz, Marcel, do you have, from your experiences, some cool ideas or examples of businesses that did it right and they provided this extra value?
Yeah, that's extremely difficult. I would say I can't right now name a brand that nailed it, especially in our region. Based on my clients' interviews and user interviews, users from Poland were pretty honest, saying that, I chose subscription because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
Like 1/3
That's
of them
what we were
didn't
showing,
even pretend.
From the Deloitte research.
Yeah, just like
Just
it's
the price.
cheaper. I buy it. I cancel it the next day. Goodbye. I can't even give a name of a brand that nailed this. I don't know. Maybe YourKaya can be a brand. I don't know. I believe that what's wonderful about PsiBuffet, in my opinion, is that besides the product for the dog, it gives you the additional value that you feel like you care about your pet and it makes you feel good.
And it's
this is
personalized,
intangible
right?
benefit.
And it's...
Can I add something?
Sure.
I have something to add to YourKaya because for me personally, this is important that the product is safe compared to the other products that I can buy in the drugstore.
Yeah.
I mean, this is made of the pure cotton, that it doesn't have any chemical additions and so on. So for me, I am willing to pay more than from regular drugstore brands because I feel safe, and I think this is huge advantage.
but it's the same for the one-off purchase and the subscription because the product is the same. And are you a subscriber?
Bogusia, are you a subscriber?
Okay. And what will convince you? What will convince you to become one?
This is a very personal question.
Okay, so I don't want to get too personal. If you want to.
Okay, I can say I'm not using it anymore.
Okay.
For my age, but for my daughter, I just consider how many of those she would need because she just started to have her period, and it needs to take time until it's regular. So we'll probably go for something.
So some flexibility.
If I may, you can add like a period calendar and ask for the feedback for the clients because, as you mentioned, it varies over time. So you can gather data and do something with that.
Yeah, it's actually. Yeah.
I mean, community might be a very good answer.
Another one is the community, right?
Yeah, but in our case, there's this theory, that whenever I speak to a subscription guru from the States, there's always, or I read a book about it, there's always this theory. Yes, there's the price discount are okay, but you have to offer something on top. There has to be some kind of value, but when you put it into practice, it's really, really difficult because, we've tried a few things actually, with content, with exclusive deals and all this stuff. But in the end, for the Polish customer, the price is super important. And when you do interviews, and we've done it, maybe not me personally, but I, read the interview notes. The price is really, really important, and what will convince the customer to become a subscriber is maybe not exactly the differentiation in offer between a subscription and one-off purchase, but the brand itself and the community around it, that you can actually trust the brand, that you actually trust the product, and you can tell yourself, you can easily tell yourself, okay, I'm willing to enter a long-term relationship with the brand. And once I tell myself, I am, ready for this, I'm ready for this marriage, then I go for a subscription, and you don't have to offer something really on top that is really, really exclusive. Plus, it's always the question of alternative costs when you do something, like content, bless you, really cool content. If you do something really cool, you probably want to share with everyone. And maybe if you share it with everyone, you're gonna, invest a little bit in the relationship. And
exclusive, right?
Yeah, it's not anymore exclusive, but you invest in a relationship in a big customer base, and then it's easier to convince them to become subscribers in the end.
I also think that when discussing this type of things, having a general approach to D2C for different products is not really helpful, because some products might be differentiated more, and others just they're in one variant, and therefore there cannot be any other differentiation. And making this value added for the customer is much harder and has to be done in other areas, like for example branding or community or whatever you can try. But if you have a product that can be customized or varied across the different, I would say, tiers of subscriptions or non-subscription products, I mean this is the area of your should be an area of expertise to position those products accordingly to not discourage the first customers from making the first purchase, but also to encourage to make it repeatable.
Cool. And now I have this question that I think is raising some controversies, and I know you guys have a little bit different idea about it, so let's ask it finally. So if you have a new e-commerce business, should you start with subscription only, one-offs only, or hybrid?
Maybe I can start.
Yeah, I know, because Mateusz's opinion is actually the most interesting to me.
Yeah, we already had bits of this discussion before we even started. So if I would want to start an e-commerce business right now, and if I felt like, okay, there's frequency, there are reasons why I would like this to be a subscription, I personally would choose the hard way and I would start with subscription. But the reason behind it is that it's just super difficult. It's very difficult to convince users to get the subscription and to prove that it actually has the value. So it makes you as the founder super focused on the product and on finding the product to market fit. But once I would see that people are convinced to get that product and they actually stick with it, and I can see that my lifetime value is reasonable, then I would transfer into hybrid model to scale acquisition and to grow the business. Because in my opinion, if you start in the hybrid, you will over-focus on one-time purchases. And it's similar case with focusing on one market versus building a global product. It's extremely difficult to run away from this, because when you make one-off purchases, you can scale the business easier. Like you've seen in an example from Sublime, from Piotrek, that one-time purchase conversion can be three times higher. So it's just much easier to convince people to want the product, buy the product one time. It's much more difficult to convince them that the product has enough value to become a subscriber. And when you crack it, then it means that you actually can have a scalable business.
Cool.
I tend to agree.
Okay, nice too. And Marcel?
Well, in general, I would say that I agree, but there's one argument missing, that not every product can be a subscription product, but it can be a very good, one-time selling product. And by starting with subscription, it is harder, and it makes much more of a lesson in terms of how interesting the product market fit is. But you're only checking this for the subscription product, I would say. If it's not a subscription, it might have a different appeal. And I have an example from our portfolio where the company, it's a smart indoor garden equipment producer. And basically the subscription part is with the seeds for the plants. And for some reason, subscription doesn't work in that with the product, but customers are repeatedly buying those seats, and they started with subscription. Basically, they were freaked in the beginning that they were unable to sell the devices because of the subscription that was entangled with it. And once they opened up, it allowed them to completely differently view their product and their customers. So in general, I would agree, but you have to know that your product is subscribable.
I mean, I can offer some counter arguments, maybe. I'm not sure if I'd agree or not. I'm not sure
can you tell people how you guys started?
Yeah, so we started off with a purely subscription business, and we had a starter package that you can buy as a one-time. So in the first month, we sold 1 subscription and 500 starter packages. And in the second month, we sold 3 subscriptions and 1,000 starter packages, and so on and so on and so on. So it was clearly a sign, come on, let us buy one-times, right?
Yeah.
And but we've always maintained a very, very strong focus on subscription. This is actually scaling the subscriber base is the main KPI within our team. But the thing is, sometimes you do get a product that you want just as many people as possible to test it,
Yeah.
And that's the challenge with going purely subscription. It's much more difficult to create brand awareness and to create product awareness. Much more difficult to create, word of mouth if you have a great product that the product works, because, obviously, you're going to be able to perfect your USP so that you can convince the subscribers, which is much more difficult. But then again, you lose all the data that you would receive if you opened up and you had much more customers and you get much more feedback.
Exactly.
And if you then, if you are convinced you have a great product, you want people to discover it. You want people to know that it's a great product. And it's much easier to generate, big buzz if you sell it to 10,000 customers rather than to 1,000 customers.
Obviously.
So, I kind of convinced myself in the past 2 minutes that I'd probably start in a hybrid way, and it's sort of inscribed in a sales funnel as well.
Yeah.
In our case, so.
There's also a cost perspective, right? Like the acquisition of a customer in the model where you have the hybrid available, and in the model where you have only subscription available, especially in the market like Poland, where, as we were learning today, 25% of people are deciding to pay with digital wallets or cards. It's a bit more tricky, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Poland is notoriously difficult to scale subscription, I would say. And that's because we've never entered that phase with paying with credit cards. We have a super modern financial system, and we quickly jumped into pay by links and Blix. Very few people pay with a card, and it's something exotic, and it's something that you're kind of afraid of.
Usually for US products like Netflix, Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. And with Netflix, I mean, what is there to be afraid of? It's a global company. You can trust it blindfoldedly. I mean, it's easy. But for physical products
and a new business.
Yeah, and a new business, I'm not sure. And even if it's not the credit card details that you're afraid to leave, it's just we have literally no strings attached when it comes to subscription. You can cancel the next day. We will not charge you. We will tell you 3 days in advance that we will renew. I don't want the news to spread, but basically if you're super upset with us, we're going to refund you as well. And so there is no commitment, but psychologically it's still there because it's subscription, and we've tested, we tried naming it the other way, abonnement, for instance. So maybe more people are familiar with the word abonnement, but this is, that's a terrible path to take because, abonnement with you four carriers, it's something that you really do have to commit for, and it's kind of difficult to get out of. So. Our way to scaling subscription businesses, it's not like tricks and gimmicks and growth hacks. We want people to know that, hey, we try to create super cool products. We invest a lot into community. We want to build a cool brand that you identify with. And once you're ready for the quote unquote subscription commitment, which is not a commitment, go ahead and do it. And there's also, even a bigger question, I'd say, for a business model when you start an e-commerce business, a consumer e-commerce business, is not exactly, okay, do you go hybrid with one-off and subscriptions? Do you go omni-channel? That's a bigger question, because we used to have this thought that, okay, omni-channel and wholesale, it's boring, it's for the old guys, and now you do business a totally different way. You go purely e-commerce, D2C, and so on. And name me some companies that are profitable in a purely D2C business in Poland and maybe globally. I'd say very, very few. And I don't think you should be afraid of the wholesale. It's something that actually we've discussed with our VCs, mainly with Maciek, because I too had this notion that maybe we want to be a digital company, we want to be a technology company. We shouldn't enter wholesale because it will diminish our value, and we will lose focus, we will lose data, lose the connection with the customer. But then again, you gain this huge scale of distribution, and you can reach a vastly bigger amount of customers, and it actually plays very well into the subscription business, because even if what you care about is not the share of the subscription in the business itself, you care about the total value of the subscriber base. And so let's say you have 50,000 customers and 20% of them are subscribers. Great, you have 10,000 customers. But if you have 1 million customers and 10% of it are subscribers, you get 100,000 customers, and it's much higher value. And okay, you can sell to an investor and acquire. Yeah, we are purely digital and we have 50% subscribers, but then another company will come with omni-channel and say, okay, we have 50 times the revenue and 50 times the subscribers base. So what, we have 50% in wholesale. It's a much stronger business. So, I would say if you have, if you are convinced you have a good product, you have a good brand, and you have a product market fit, try to sell it to as many people as possible and look into channels where the peoples are. And in period products, for instance, we've been purely D2C for, I'd say, 4 years or so. But in the end, you realize that you have 15 million people who use passive tampons in Poland, and how many of them buy them, online? 0.5% maybe, 1%. Everybody
and
buys it.
And how many of them want to sign up for subscription right away, right?
Even if it's 1%, it's still kind of a big business, but you can reach, much higher goals and convert those wholesale customers into online customers much, more effectively if you're able to reach them from the shelf.
Are you treating those client bases as separate? Because from what you're saying, it seems like
you don't have any data about the customer base from the wholesale, so it's not like we're treating them separately. There is just a single customer base, which is the D2C one, because Rossmann, Hebe, or anybody else with offline, wholesale, they will not give you any data, right?
How do you think about pricing on the retail shelf versus subscription?
Yeah, that is super tricky. This is something that was actually something that we've identified as the biggest threat. So if you want to go wholesale in the cosmetic business in Poland, you go Rossmann, basically. So it's 50% of the market. You enter a deal on 5 SKUs, and it's a huge deal and a huge cash cow. But then you get discounts every 2 weeks. Not for the whole portfolio, but for your chosen SKUs.
And you can't control it, right?
No, you cannot say anything about it. If you mention whatever about pricing in an email, they will threaten you're going to go to jail. Literally, that's how it works. It's like, please never mention it again to me in an email. If you do, I will not answer. This is, everybody. Rossmann, out of all these guys, they're by far the nicest, I would say. Which is something that surprised me, but maybe if you're that big, you basically, you have nothing to prove and you can be a little bit nicer. So, yeah, that was the issue. If you get a 25% discount every month for your pads, how are you supposed to sell them in a subscription? And but then again, you think, okay, I will be able to reach 500,000 customers a day, you know. And
it is a different product, buying just wholesale discounted product with just one single SKU, compared to this subscription, especially your subscription, which is a lot more featured in rather than just the product, and you are able also to have some other SKUs as well. Yeah, exactly, and this is also a very good way to hedge the risk a little bit, right? So. You don't want to go all. I mean, you are tempted to go all into Rossmann. I mean, the first thing they have to, you need to be wanted, so to say. So it's not that easy. But then again, if you go all in, then you leave, very little value on the table for the D2C.
So what's the solution? Should you have different product lines for the offline and online market? And is there a way to go?
I'd say you have to be very selective when it comes to portfolio distribution. So obviously you need to distribute everything in your D2C, but then you can have, depending on how many SKUs you have in your portfolio, you can have 10 SKUs in Rossmann, which has, a very specific portfolio characteristics. They don't go into dermocosmetics. They don't go into expensive stuff. So, for instance, I haven't been here before, but I'd assume Health Labs probably were mentioned a couple of times. Huge success story D2C, not welcome in Rossmann, too expensive. So then you have Superfarm, and they like the more expensive products, the dermocosmetic products. So you can have 5 SKUs over there. Then you have Hebe, the main competitor of Rossmann, and they are eager to prove they're way better than Rossmann. So they want to have something Rossmann doesn't have, and the other way around. And you distribute it a little bit here and there, keeping all of the value within the D2C, and that's how you hedge the risk, right? So you have a discount-free subscription on everything, every single day, every single hour of the day. And you have a discount for night and day pads in Rossmann only for 3 days, a month. So that's how you hedge it. And obviously, I mean, that's what we've noticed as well. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have to stop you.
I told you before that I talk a lot.
But it's great because out of the group, you obviously have this amazing experience of day-to-day subscription business and growth, and I think that's nice because you have a little bit different opinion than the guys here, which I think I don't want to take sides, but obviously both approaches can be good. This one is more built for scale. This one is more built for searching if there's actually a product market fit and making sure that the customers for your product exist before you go all in. But because the time is passing quickly, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, we almost have 8 o'clock. I want to ask the final question about the trends. Because, there were different voices from the market. Like if you would listen closely, maybe a year or two ago, there were lots of forecasts that actually subscription is not a way to go anymore, that the market is going more into quick commerce and different solutions of quick logistics where people just want to get things fast right now, where they need them with one click and whatsoever. But do you guys think subscriptions are still growing, or we should be thinking out of the box about new solutions? And if subscriptions, what are the next steps that we should look at and next trends we should look at to actually play this game and grow e-commerce businesses? And I will start with Mateusz and...
That's a very difficult one. When it comes to trends, I would actually mention that what Marek said about the omnichannel strategy is something that I strongly believe in.
Yeah.
And what's from my perspective interesting is that my belief is we won't see retail and offline players going to online. We will actually see strong online players going to offline. Modivo, eobuwie, perfect examples of how you can nail the retail as an e-commerce online brand. and also treat it as a logistics hub for your 24 hours or same-day deliveries, etc. So I'm actually personally a strong believer in omnichannel distribution when it comes to those types of products. But we can clearly see that a lot of new stuff is being right now sold or distributed in subscriptions. Apartments, resi for rent is growing like crazy. We have cars right now. Almost nobody buys cars anymore, especially the new ones. Everybody subscribes or gets an abonnement for the car. So probably we will see a lot of surprises like this, but I'm personally a strong believer in omnichannel.
And how it's gonna merge with the subscription and their growth, right?
We'll see. Maybe you can have a subscription on shoes, for example, and it doesn't matter whether you order it online or you order it offline. No idea.
Marcel?
First of all, I wanted to briefly just say about the previous topic because I have a funny story very shortly. So we have a D2C company which is selling Natura Cold Press, which is selling juices online. And they wanted to expand to retail, so they wanted to make an omni-channel. But they couldn't because it was too expensive, so they made a cheaper brand.
Okay.
And they had two brands, one in retail, one in online. But recently, we have also decided to make the retail brand also available online. So they have been from D2C to retail and back again to D2C to have two brands online and one of them in retail. So basically, whatever we prove it can work, you can apply it.
And it worked for them pretty well.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, and it's just surprising because you just make decisions and you see what works, and then you can decide, yeah, let's go there and let's go there, and you can see that it doesn't make any sense this route, but it makes business-wise.
So sorry, just on the product differentiation and portfolio management, I just wanted to bring up the example of like during the first presentation you mentioned a brand Huel. I know for sure about that market. So both Huel and YFood are actually more retail brands rather than online brands. So they have a product differentiation where online they sell those big boxes of powder, but 70-80% of their business are ready to drinks that are sold in gas stations or in retail outlets. Just go to UK, enter any Tesco, Sainsbury or BP gas station, Huel is going to be there. So that's the product differentiation. You can try it for £2 or £3 in a ready to drink, and if you like it, you can get the powder online that is much cheaper per portion.
Yeah, and I think on that note, both on what Marcel said and Mateusz said, yeah, the goal here, I mean, subscription is not a goal in any way. The goal is retention and repeatability in purchasing. And you can achieve it through subscriptions, obviously, but you can achieve it through multiple ways, and one of them could be subscription somehow, inscribed at whole sales funnel. And for Huel, for instance, okay, they quickly realized we can have repeatable, customers, but we want to, have the products, as available as possible to the customers. And probably they have, a little bit less data on the repeatability itself, but they're huge. So maybe, Tesco and Sainsbury's, they give them something to share with. But yeah, you have to focus on retention, not exactly on subscriptions, I'd say.
Yeah, to answer your question also very shortly, that's exactly right, because I think there's a tendency among, especially I would say younger founders, to subscribe products. For example, I've seen many startups over the years of for example, bread for subscription for bread. Sorry.
But this is actually very eagerly subscribed to. If I had,
it's linked to the first subscriptions.
But it puts, I think, the question in the wrong place. It's not about what type of product do I want to sell, and then what is the best way to monetize this product, but rather what is not yet in the subscription. Can I make it in the subscription? And for some people you can, but for most of those questions were already asked by a vast number of entrepreneurs, and there are reasons why they failed.
Yeah. And final word.
I would say, maybe the name of the game is recurring revenue rather than subscription. I still do believe that subscription in general, not only like physical products, but especially in other areas, that will still grow, because I see some potential between this balance between freedom of choice and purchase and comfort of doing the purchase and easiness of doing that. So probably we'll still have some potential to make it more convenient to people, or persuade them to being more convenient. So I do believe in the trend of subscription. And I would agree that I also do believe in omnichannel.
So let me do a quick summary, because it was a very interesting discussion for me. We started with subscription and we finished with omnichannel and how Rossmann plays all the small brands and all that stuff. So
No, I don't want to leave you with it's gonna spread. Rossmann is the
and
greatest.
who said that? Yeah, don't worry. It's a very, it's a very secret society here. No one will leak it to Rossmann. So be sure. Okay, so guys, I think from this discussion, if I can summarize it in just a few words, is that it's really all about value, in the end. About value, about access, which can be done with subscription, can be done with channel and everything. And it's also about being able to access the scale. So value, scale, two things that businesses look for. Value is what customers look for, scale is what businesses look for. But if we merge these two, subscription can be a good answer, but not necessarily. It depends on the product. If your product can actually be of frequent use, and if they are of frequent use, but they're also not really in this category where people like to switch a lot, then you probably have a good case for subscription. But you should not just make a subscription product because subscriptions are trendy, but you should actually think how it's going to play in your whole business. And if you want to scale and investors want to scale, you probably will have to look for other channels and other models of distribution. We had a great case of YourKaya today. They shared how they actually are reaching a Polish market, not always with a subscription. And we have to really take a lens of a Polish market when we're talking about Polish market, because it's not like US. Not all the people pay with the cards. And because of that factor, it might be impossible to scale your business to the levels that you might imagine and your investors might imagine if subscription and the way where you have to put your card is the only way to buy. So you might start in the different ways, but eventually there has to be a merger of different things. When it comes to value, we spoke here about transparency, which is a part of a value. We spoke about how your product has to really give this additional value to the customer for them to stick to it. So if your product is just like any other from the supermarket and you just offer it in a subscription, obviously you will not achieve a great success. There are ways where you can look for the extra value by building communities, adding extra content, doing a lot of different stuff, but you have to understand if it really matches your business, because it will not always be worth it, because you're going to invest into it, but maybe not necessarily it's going to make your subscription sticky. So value is really important, but you have to understand what it is for your customer. And finally, I think I want to leave you guys with this idea that subscription is one of the tactics. It's one of the tactics of building a successful e-commerce, but it's just one of the tactics. There's much more. There's much more, and you have to remember that it has to play with all the others. And I think it will be growing, and you should be considering, but not in separation of everything else that you're doing in your businesses. And I really want to thank my guests, because it was awesome. You guys did great, and you guys shifted the discussion, So thank you. And I don't know if we still have some pastel donata. No, I don't know. Pastel donata. They go. Sorry for that, but I think they were amazing. So now, thank you. We're gonna send the slides. We also are gonna send some demo of a Sublime, so you guys will be able to see how the subscription data is being collected by our partner Sublime. We're gonna send invitations for the next events, and I hope to see you guys again. So, thank you.